Hello, welcome to a Barotrauma wiring explanation video for vanilla builds by the creator, myself, Parfait. Today we're going to be explaining and looking at the dual gun auto switch. So I'm just going to load up the mod. So if you've just downloaded it, this is what you'll see. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to save this as an item assembly, and then I'm going to install it in a sub, and as we go I'll explain how the circuit works and then I'll give a demonstration. So if you want to save this as an item assembly, the first thing that we're going to do is delete all these labels because for the moment we don't really need them. So then I'm going to save this as an item assembly. If you've never done this before, this is how you do it. Call it the auto switch for later. Alright, so I'm going to drop this into the Azimuth just to show you how one would install this. So what this is going to let you do is control one gun, or two guns, with one guy. So the Azimuth already has two periscopes installed, so we're going to use those two. So we'll go over here and have a look at the wiring. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to remove the wires for these two periscopes, which are controlling these two coil guns, and we're going to drop in the dual gun auto switch item assembly. So we'll just go here. Where is it? Is it at the bottom when you first save it? Don't delete it. Alright, there it is. So the way that if I recall, this is for periscopes and this is for the guns. So we're basically installing, periscope position to signal 1, periscope trigger to signal 2, and just make sure that green goes with green and red goes with red. Okay, so in addition to those, this switch was turning the sort of auto-switching sentry gun mode on and off, and this one was the swapping switch. So additionally, I put in Wi-Fi, so on channel 0, if you send a 1, it will hot swap the guns. So just change this to say any other channel. How about channel 1? Just so people can't easily type 1s in there and swap your guns on you. So just for aesthetics, I'm going to go ahead and hide these components as well. The lights are 100% not necessary. It's just for, again, aesthetics if you want to see when the switching is active. So we'll just leave 2 of them just for funsies. So I just kind of wanted to show, hypothetically, if someone was wiring this might be actually the steps that you would precisely take to do it. When I set it up on my sub, this is how I was using it. Sort of roughly move these over here in the interest of time. Oh my god. So that we can't see anything there. Alright, so these we can just sort of slap in here, approximately hidden. If I recall where that wall is. Alright. Now, just before we test it, I'll briefly talk about the functionality of it and how this bad boy works. So basically you have it's what I would call a dumb circuit. So the circuit never knows or cares what state it's in. All it does is switch between two states. So what we have is 4 relay nodes. Just make this a little bit easier to see. 4 relay nodes here, which are basically controlling swapping between the two guns. Right, so you have control going in here, and we have a bunch of things being toggled. In addition to that, we've got... So this other circuitry here is just to control when these sort of turn on and off. In addition to that, we have a delay circuit here. So we have 2 delays. There's a 4-second delay, there's a 10-second delay. Both of these have this signal coming in from either the trigger or from the Wi-Fi, telling us that you've started the auto switch circuit. The other one has a signal coming in from the trigger telling you that you fired the trigger. That's set for 10 seconds. So what we've got here controlling the Wi-Fi is you can type on or off, which will turn on the auto switching, and because we're using regex components, so basically it will ignore everything else that you send. And so that's on the Wi-Fi, or you can hit the switch as we discussed to start the switching. So that's pretty much it. There's only like 3 parts to the circuit, right? There's this part, which has these 2 delay components in it. There's this part, which is the switching, and then we have 2 signal check components, basically checking for if you sent it on or off to do the switch. So now, presumably we wired it correctly. Let's test it. So in the Azimuth, I should spawn in as the captain. Let's quickly go here. Okay. So on the rear gun, curve still works good. Bottom gun still works good. So now, if you don't know this functionality, you can push Control plus R, brings up this. Let's go to, well, first we'll click this chat button to keep this permanent. Press 1. So now if I type on, the light should come on and it will start the sentry gun switching. So now every 4 seconds, it's working correctly, we switch between the 2 guns. So now you're controlling both. And the control stays for the other periscope as well, right? So I leave here, go to this one, right? We're switching to the opposite. So if somebody else is on the gun, it doesn't take control, it just gives them the opposite control. Now this is where it gets juicy, is if you fire the gun, now we stay on this gun for 10 seconds. Right, for as long as you fire this gun, we stay on it. But then if you wait long enough, the sentry auto switching starts up again on its own. So there you have it. That's the dual gun auto switch. So in addition to that, as I've said, if you press Control R at any time, send to 1, you can hot swap the guns as much as you want. Importantly though, you have to push Control R. Right, because if you don't, if I just bring up the chat, type in 1 doesn't do anything. So, I'm going to type the Control R to bring up the chat. Give it that 1. And of course, if I want to turn it off, it's off. Now we're back to normal gun functionality. And like I mentioned, the buttons work. Also, similarly, turn on the auto switching or hot swap the guns. I'll get the buttons reversed. Turn on the auto switching or hot swap the guns. So this has been the dual gun auto switch wired into the Azimuth for your enjoyment. Included with the mod, I wired up the Orca. So this has been vanilla builds to the auto switch. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the rest of my mods. Don't forget to like and subscribe.